All right, we're wrapping up our time here at Leopard Sands Kruger Park, and we wanted to give our like thoughts and a little review of this amazing resort.
Yeah, I think we found a hidden gem.
Yeah, this has been, I'd say it's far exceeded our expectations. This was a kind of a spur of the moment. Like we booked this like a year ago, but when we booked it, it was very like, we actually didn't have plans to do a South African safari. This was always a trip I think we were very intimidated by planning wise.
It was like, we'll do that one day when we feel ready.
Yeah, one day. I need to plan this for years, and it's got to be like so much work into all the details. And we just sort of stumbled across it while looking. We had some Marriott points to use, and we were like, let's look at some places that have Marriott hotels. And this popped up, and it was brand new at the time.
It had just opened.
Just opened. And we're like, oh, that sounds like an easy option to sort of take our first step into South Africa and safaris and all of that, right? Because it's our first time here.
Yeah, first time on this continent.
Yeah, exactly. so yeah, we felt like ahead of us coming here, there wasn't much content on YouTube about this hotel either.
There was no information.
There was barely any room tours. There was barely any information at all.
I found one Reddit post.
So we hope that this video and our entire sort of series has been really helpful for you guys who are thinking about coming here. And so we wanted to wrap it all up with a review of our experience here.
Yeah.
Right? So do you want to start this off with, I think, the most important part about any kind of South African safari trip is the safari and the drives. Yeah. So
the most important thing. Yeah. So the drives have really, I mean, we've said this after every single one, but like they've truly been incredible. I don't know what I expected, but whatever expectations I had, it has blown them out of the water. They've really clearly invested in superior guides, particularly Sandros. I think quite the hiring coup.
Oh yeah.
For this.
As if you, I think we talked about him a little last night, but if you haven't seen that video, he has been a guide for over 30 years. And I think most of those 30 years before coming here were at Sabi Sands, which is a incredible, from what we've heard, incredible private reserve here in Kruger. So he knows his stuff and it shows, right? But I think just that just shows the level of care and sort of how they prioritized their drives and the experience of that and how everything kind of revolves around that as the key thing you're here for.
Yeah. Every evening they ask you, are you doing the morning drive? After every morning drive, they ask, are you doing the evening drive? So they can plan accordingly.
Yeah.
Every drive, like, so they give you a meeting time, which is almost always 5:15 a.m. and 3 p.m.
Yeah, it might vary on the time of the year you're here.
Yeah.
We're here in January, so our time has always been, our drives leave at either 5 or 5:15, and then they get back around 9:30. It's not super strict. It's like, it's a certain time around then. And then, and then the afternoon drives start at 3, and that you'll generally be out of the park by 6:30 because that's when the park closes. So
you have to be out.
You have to be out or you're going to get fined by, well, the drivers or the company's going to get fined.
Yeah.
So that's the general sort of protocol. You have to wake up, like you have to sort of meet up 15 minutes before.
Yeah, we either get a bus or a van to the park and then get in the trucks there, or our first drive we got in the trucks here.
Yeah.
But the trucks are actually super comfortable. Like, yes, you're on bumpy roads and you're bumping around a little bit, but for being in a truck for 3 hours, it's actually extremely comfortable.
They're like brand new. I think these trucks, the seats are really cushiony and nice. There's only 3 seats.
There's only 9 seats.
33 seats wide, 3 rows. And then all of our drives have only been 2 a row at the most.
Yeah.
So the most we've seen in a car is 6. And the driver.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they were really packed. I feel like they probably wouldn't unless you were in a group of 3 or larger, in an odd number, right?
Yeah.
But I think they probably wouldn't want to separate people. No. They seem to be very careful with that and making sure they have enough cars to make everyone be comfortable.
Yeah.
So you have the ability to kind of sit on a side, move over, stand up. Like, so
I literally climbed into like a different row yesterday and it was fine.
And I'm like over this side and something's over there and I'm like leaning over Marissa and like taking taking photos like that. But no, they're very comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
They're always on time. They're like very professional. They've got like always have drinks and like snacks on board. Mm-hmm. So like you just go in and they'll be like, does someone want a water? Does someone want a Coke? Does someone want a juice? And in the mornings they even will have sort of hot beverages. They won't give you those like while driving. They'll stop.
You generally stop towards the end for 15 to 30 minutes, and they'll do a little spread with like coffee and some biscuits and stuff.
Yeah, depending on how active your drive has been. If you're in the middle of like searching for a rhino like we were yesterday, they might not stop for as long.
Yeah,
and they'll just be like, hey, do you want a drink, or like here's a bathroom break, but let's skip the long 30-minute break or whatever for coffee. And if it's a slower morning, they'll be like, hey, we're going to stop at, like we did earlier today, we stopped at Skakusa, and we we stayed around there for a little bit. But if your drive needs it, they can kind of bypass that longer.
And then in the afternoon, they have snacks. It's like popcorn and nuts and dried fruit.
Every day they pass around the little like
they're like camp tins that like screw together.
It just feels like we were kind of saying this, it feels very luxurious.
It does.
It's not like a luxury of like like I think the place in general feels very luxurious in a sort of down to earth way. Does that make
rustic
sense?
luxury.
Yeah, rustic luxury. Like it's not quite glamping. It's very nice rooms. Like the room, it's not that level, but it's like they provide very good service. Like even the drivers. Like so you might even think that a driver might not give you the same kind of service as someone at the hotel.
And they absolutely They really take care of you.
They are impeccable. Right.
They also, another nice thing is they also keep pretty heavy duty ponchos in the truck.
Yes.
So if you don't have a rain jacket, or you forgot your rain jacket, or you just want like an extra layer of warmth, because it is actually pretty chilly in the mornings.
Yeah.
Those are available
too. So you could
too.
probably get by without even bringing a rain jacket. I haven't even used it hasn't rained for us, but you would be able to get by with those jackets.
And they provide binoculars as well.
Yes.
I brought my own.
And I've got my big camera lens. So we haven't needed them, but there's been other people that have really used them. So
that's a really nice touch.
And he seems to have enough, I think, to pass around to everyone if needed.
I think he probably has like enough for like one for every two people. Probably.
And I'm sure you could probably, if you were you really wanted to make sure you get one, you could probably even go to the front desk and ask for them too.
For sure.
I think they might even let you sort of have them for your stay, I would imagine. I'm not sure the exact, don't quote me on that, but I think they would be pretty accommodating or make sure there's always enough for you.
But they've really, I feel like the drives are something like, if this is a new market for Marriott, they could have really flubbed it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They could have, I think, underestimated the skill level needed in their drivers. And they absolutely did not. Like, they must have done a ton of research.
Yeah.
Because they
take it very seriously.
Yeah.
And as evident, even on our, like, I think it was our first full day, Van, who's one of their like managers, I think he's like the resort the general manager, I think he was actually at Kruger Gate that morning and was kind of like, this is a little crazy, like the whole system, because like you have to get a permit every day that you go into the park. And so one of the drivers has to go into this office every morning when they open, get a permit for everyone, come back to the van, and then we're good to go.
And it takes about 30 minutes.
Yeah, and we were at that point leaving here at 5.
Yeah.
And then the gates, I think, were opening about 5:15, and then we couldn't get into the park until 5:30. So we were probably waiting about 30 minutes at the gate. And we assume Van was like, this isn't quite optimized right.
Yeah.
Then the next morning, they were like, you don't have to leave till 5:15.
Yeah. So
and it moved faster the next morning after he was there. And he's like, I think we can figure that out. So we've seen now the drivers seem to pack up their gear here, leave before us, get to the park.
And to start that process.
They start the process. And then we get like the shuttle bus.
Yeah. 2 more things about the permits. One, that is definitely a benefit that you almost don't see or feel is if you are driving yourself or staying, depending on where you're staying, you have to get the permits yourself, like if you're in a campground or something like that. But here they take care of all of that. And
I assume they're not free as well, right?
No, they're not. They take care of the fees and everything for you. The fees are included.
Everything's included. We don't have to do anything. Like,
we don't have to do anything.
When we arrived at the airport, we filled in a piece of paper that said our names, our passport number, and I think our nationality. We gave it to our driver. That was it.
Yep.
that was the entire process for us getting permission to go in the parks.
Taking care of it every single day. So I think that's really nice. And we'll talk more about Van later, but that definitely seems like they're also very invested in nudging Kruger Park to really modernize this permit process.
Oh, yeah.
He told us he's had a lot of meetings with them to try and improve it. So
I think with the power of a Marriott,
brand like Marriott,
they're kind of like, we need to get this like streamlined for like the guest experience to be perfect. Yeah. And I think they're they're always working on how do we make this the best experience possible. Whether it's, even if it's just saving a guest 15 minutes in the morning, which is a lot when you're waking up, when you're leaving at 5.
Yeah.
Like that extra 15 minutes of sleep
means
is a lot.
Yeah. Last thing about the drives is they also give you bug spray and give you bug spray. So they just kind of have every possible thing that could make it more comfortable. They got it covered.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else.
Like you don't even have to like clean up after yourself. Like they give you drinks and bottles and stuff. You just like put them there. They clean it afterwards. Like everything is done.
Yeah.
And then on the topic of, obviously this can change every drive, but we on pretty much every drive had an amazing experience on the animals we saw. And I think that's indicative of the drivers, how good they are.
Yeah.
Being able to find the animals. They all communicate with each other. Like a lot of the drivers communicate with each other, both in resort cars and other resorts.
Yeah.
They're all talking to each other, trying to make sure we all had the best experience possible, right?
And especially with Sandros, there's been so many times where you see him leaning on his instincts and his experience of, I have a hunch, we're going to turn around, and then there's like 30 elephants. Yeah. Or this morning with the leopard of like his ability to anticipate how this animal was going to move through the brush so that we could see as much of it as possible. Was just absolutely incredible. And we saw and part of that was luck. We were the first ones to see it.
Yeah.
But we saw way more of that animal than any other truck.
And most of the drivers sort of take in, like, if it's within reason, like your requests to, like some of the drivers, some of the drivers will sometimes even ask you, like what haven't you seen yet? Or like, what do you want to see? And like, for example, like Sandros yesterday knew that we did as well, but there was a couple that were leaving that day. This was their last drive. They hadn't seen a rhino. So he's like, we're going to go find a rhino.
And we went all the way to the south side of the park, which is quite far.
Yeah.
Because he was on a rhino, I don't want to say the word hunt, that sounds dark.
A mission.
We were on a mission to find those rhinos, and he made it happen. And some of it was luck, and a lot of it's luck and timing.
We might not have found it, and it wouldn't have, but still, the effort was put in to find it.
Yeah.
And they're always, sorry, go ahead.
No, his effort paid off, and along the way, we saw the other 4 of the 5. So it was just like incredible.
Yeah, if you want to see that, yesterday, we saw all the big 5 in one morning drive, which was amazing. But and then also the last thing, they're also very accommodating for, like, if they know you want to take photos or video and stuff, they'll ask, are you ready to move on? Like, are you good? Have you got your photo? Have you got your shot? And they'll sometimes even be like, if you see something, tell me to stop.
Yeah, and there's also been a couple times where you're like, can you move up like 2 inches? Yeah. So you're like that tree branch is out of the way. And they'll just inch the car up so you can get that perfect shot. So they're super accommodating. And like they must be able to anticipate, like if I'm all the way up here, they're back there. What they can, I can't imagine the amount of skill required to be driving on these very difficult roads in a stick shift truck. Yeah. Driving in a way so that it's comfortable for us in the back. Oh, yeah. Looking for animals, tracking animals, and then also being able to answer everybody's like off-the-wall questions at any given moment. This man's brain must be working so hard. Yeah. He is so incredibly intelligent. I could talk about Sandros all day. We should probably move on.
We've spent a lot of time on the drives, but I think it was important to go talk about this. And I think anyone watching this, if you're from Marriott higher-ups or like managers of this resort, Sandros is the best.
Yeah, and, like, well done. Applause for Sandros.
Sandros, you're watching it. You're the best. All right. We should probably talk about a couple of other things about the resort, right? And I think, I think that first part was the most important. But now let's talk about, I think, do you want to talk about the room?
Yeah, let's talk about the room. We're sitting in it.
So we did a little tour of this earlier. So if you want to see that, head back in the
video.
playlist. Yeah, we'll link it in the description. But the room has been amazing. It's big. It's
airy.
Yeah, it's comfortable. It's always air conditioned. So in summer, that is very much appreciated. It's got everything you need because it is all inclusive. There's snacks, there's soda, there's coffee, 2 types of coffee.
There's instant and espresso.
Yeah, there's they provide bug spray in the room. There's bathtub and shower.
2 showers.
2 showers, outdoor shower, your own plunge pool, your own balcony, your own view with hippos.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure a hippo literally walked
in front of our balcony.
Like right in front of our balcony, because there's about 6 to 8 inches between the fence of the park and where our balcony is. And I just, for the way plants are kicked over and stuff, it looks like something was walking there.
Another great feature, we said we were probably going to use this the other day, and I don't think we talked about it afterwards, was the laundry.
Oh yeah, the laundry service.
So there's a laundry service, which is great when you're in a safari, because sometimes you're dirty.
Pretty dirty.
We haven't been that bad. We've been lucky with the weather where it hasn't been too hot, and we haven't been super dirty. So, but we did use the laundry service one day. In the morning, I think I put a shirt and some pants.
And I did a dress,
You put a dress in, and we just you fill in a little card, and we put it like at the front near the door.
Yeah.
And then they came, took it, and then by that evening, our clothes were washed and dried and pressed. I don't think they were pressed. They were just like folded nicely.
Yeah.
And so that is something like I was kind of skeptical.
You were very skeptical that was going to work, but no, it was. And you were like, oh, it's a form. I got to fill it out.
Yeah.
It was easy. You just, they have like all different types of clothing. You just circle what you're putting in, how many of that item for each thing.
Yeah.
And then you just like sign it and put your room number. You're supposed to take it to the front desk and hand it in.
Yeah, but
I forgot and
we
it
left
still
it
got
here
done.
and they did it. But yeah, that was really, really great. That's just another little thing. So you could even probably get away with packing a little less and do laundry every day. I think you get 6 items per room. So, a couple each, or 3 items each, or if you're a couple.
Yeah.
But that's been great. Like everything has worked. Nothing's like broken or like we've had no issues with the room. No. We had one issue of a few ants near the bath.
It was more than a few.
The basins in the bathroom. We went and told the reception straight away. They got it sorted. We haven't had issues since. You are in the bush. So we've had an occasional bug in the room. We had like a grasshopper or something.
That was this big. It was gigantic.
I took care of it. And
thank you.
He's outside. But that's kind of to be expected, and it's no fault to like the room or anything.
Yeah, they're clearly
it's just like it's just like bugs will get in occasionally. Yeah. But there's been I don't think we've had any mosquitoes in the room, which that's probably the biggest sort of concern I think when a lot of people come.
Yeah,
is like just for risk of like malaria and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think like the fact there's no mosquitoes is great.
Yeah, especially because I don't know how much we've talked about it. It is a legitimate thatched roof.
Oh yeah.
It is not fake. It is a real thatched roof.
Yeah, so you can say.
It's like the fact that the bug challenge is so under control, I think really says a lot about the dedication to keeping this property. And they also do have a full canopy.
Yeah, it's a whole mosquito net that fully encapsulates the bed, and they put that down for you every evening. They do because they generally come in the morning when we're on our game drive. They'll do a clean. Yep. And then when we're on our afternoon drive, they will do a turn down service. So that's when they'll put the canopy down.
They'll put the nets down, and then they'll put your robes on your bed and your slippers by the bed, and it's just like very cozy.
And I think that on that note, I'm one of those people that I get kind of a little, sometimes when I'm in a normal hotel, I get a little stressed sometimes about the timings of the room being clean. I feel like we're sometimes early, we'll sometimes be early risers, do a lot of stuff and come back to the room.
And the room's still not made.
And then the room's not made, or the cleaning crew are there doing it right when we want to have a nap or something. I think because those drives are here, they're on it and they get it done.
They take advantage of it.
Or and I think there's a lot of communication between the front desk and the staff too. So like sometimes they know you're going to dinner, or they can sometimes then be like, oh, let's like turn down the room or whatever too. Yeah. But no, amazing, no issues. It's felt like it's very luxurious, high quality, modern.
Everything, And what I actually really love about it, and looking at some of the other properties nearby, is it doesn't feel like like it's a very nice like villa suite, but it doesn't feel like a hotel room.
No.
And definitely some of the other places, it looks like a hotel room,
right.
which I feel like is not what I want for this experience. Like the layout and the decor and everything is just like, it's kind of what
honestly,
you want.
I feel like this room, I think Wisso said this privately, that like it's very similar to what you would get in like the Maldives and stuff, in like these the overwater bungalows.
Yeah, it's a very similar layout.
When we said last year we went to the Maldives and experienced that, and it was very similar. You live kind of in here, and it's like it's very self-contained. You don't have to deal with noise from neighbors, people above or below or either side, and but also every room is given priority to the view.
Yeah.
I don't think there would be a bad room in the entire resort.
Everything is built parallel to the river, so no matter where you are in the resort, you get this incredible view, which is amazing.
Like the bed is super comfortable.
I think they're the best hotel pillows we've ever had,
pretty
and
good.
we've stayed in a lot of hotels.
Yeah. I can't think of a fault.
I can't either,
right?
Honestly.
I think it's like 5 stars. Like it's everything has been perfect.
Yeah. No, I can't think of anything either.
Even like the pool's a good temperature.
The pool's nice and warm. Yeah.
Yeah, but rooms are fantastic. No downsides.
No, I can't think of one. No.
All right. So next, what do we want to talk about next?
Do you want to do like the restaurant?
Yeah, let's talk about the restaurant. I think it's an important one to go over because it's
the only one.
The only
it's the
restaurant.
only food you're getting.
And you're eating here because you're like kind of stuck here, I guess, right? Like you can leave if you want, but only if like you organize something.
Yeah.
So you get everything's included, which is great, except alcohol. So you do have to purchase alcohol if you wish to have that, but
it is so cheap.
So cheap. Like I think at least for US conversion, most of the beers were like $2.50 a beer.
And we got a bottle of wine for what, $11?
I think it was $14 for an entire bottle of wine. I think if you purchased just a glass, it's about $3.
Yeah,
something like that. So very cheap, and I think the cocktails were very affordable too, like $5 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I think the margarita was like $3.
They haven't. That was something like. That's one of like we talked about earlier, like how this kind of feels like being in the Maldives or something. Like the rooms, it's not. They don't overcharge for stuff like the drinks like they do in the Maldives.
Yeah, which was a really pleasant surprise. I was expecting it to be very expensive.
I was expecting them to make like all the food's all inclusive, but the drinks are astronomical. But no, they're very affordable. So if you want a a glass of wine or two at dinner, or a beer or a cocktail, it's easy, and it's like you don't have to you just write it on your check. They come out with your check that has like the amount on it, and they just charge it to the room.
Yeah, which I will add. They bring out a check even if you didn't order something extra. So you do have to sign, even if it's a $0 amount.
So make sure you don't just walk off. Yeah. We did that on our first lunch, and they were like, "Oh, you need to like sign the thing," and you just got to write $0 and sign it. Yeah. But yeah, let's talk about the food. The food has been
amazing,
exceptional. Yeah. Like it's like super high quality restaurant, like luxury restaurant quality, like for every meal. Like, so we'll start with like breakfast.
Actually, let's start before breakfast.
Before breakfast.
Because a really pre-breakfast.
Yeah.
So what's really nice is because the morning drives are so early, and they recommend you get to the lodge about 10 to 15 minutes before your drive.
Yeah.
They have so many
pastries.
They have juices and pastries laid out. There's a coffee bar, so you can order whatever coffee beverage, and they put it in a little to-go cup for you. So you can do some grab and go stuff. They have fruit and stuff, so you can grab some stuff before your drive, so you're not having to be like completely ravenous.
Right.
Which I think is just another really nice touch.
These aren't like these are like from the night before prepped, and they're just like taking plastic off. Like the croissant I had this morning was like warm, like, fresh out of the oven.
Yeah, it was clearly not like baked previously and warmed up. It was fresh.
Yeah. So that's great. Like you get the little snack because like otherwise you're not eating to about 9:30 or so 10 o'clock or something in the morning.
So I just think that's like another like really nice touch that they provide that in the morning.
For sure. And then get back for breakfast. You can order, there's a full a la carte menu.
The breakfast is extravagant.
Oh, yeah. So like not only do you order something, right? On the a la carte menu, there's maybe
8 options.
Something like that. So things like eggs Benedict, there's
avocado toast,
there's pancakes, the best French toast in existence, I think. I had that like 2 or 3 times. But so you can order all that stuff. You order it, and then you can get like a specialty coffee and all that kind of stuff too. And then they come out with the like tower of food. And this is every day. They come out with this tower that's like a high tea tiered system that has pastries on the top,
fruit,
a layer of fruit, generally like 3 options for fruit at least.
And then a selection of like meats, cheeses, veggies, and then little yogurt perfects.
Yeah. And so that is all that. Like you could probably very easily not even order something on the a la carte menu
and just pick
and
from
have
that.
A good breakfast.
Yeah.
But then like, the breakfast is super high quality. So good. Like the breakfast, like there's some of the other guests we were talking to said that they often don't even get lunch because it's the breakfast is so good, so filling.
Because you're now eating breakfast at like 9:30, 10, and then your next drive is at 3. So there's not heaps of time.
So we've actually been squeezing in breakfast and lunch in this time. So we have to be very mindful of like don't eat too much at breakfast and then have kind of a light lunch. And anyway, but that's breakfast.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then there's lunch. That is that's I think it's served from like midday-ish or something like that.
To about 3.
Yeah, and we've got that every day, and it's very good. It's a smaller menu.
Yeah.
Generally there'll be I think 3 apps.
2 or 3, 2 or 3 starters.
I think 2 mains to pick from, and then 2 desserts to pick from. Yeah. And they've rotated the items every day. I think we saw 1 repeat from yesterday. So I think it's like every few days they might
3 days
bring around the stuff. But super high quality, super everything. And what we've found from the meals here is everything is so like fresh and pretty healthy. Like there's so many really high quality veggies and like
fish. The fish has been fabulous.
Even like the meat is just all seems to be prepared so well that it like nothing feels. I never feel heavy or gross after eating anything. No, even like the little sliders we got at lunch, like they felt really good and fresh.
The lamb kofta.
Yeah. Like all the food's been great. And I think a lot of, and I think the lunch portions seem to be a little bit on the small, like not tiny, but I think intentionally lighter and kind of smaller portion because they know like you've probably just had a giant breakfast. But lunch is amazing. And it's generally very quiet at lunchtime.
I think most days we've been the only people getting lunch because I think most other people skip it. But if I go that long, I will pass out.
Yeah, and the food is such high quality. I don't want to miss out on it.
That's a really good point.
Like even if we're not going to eat the whole meal, I'm like I want to try this thing. I'll just have a couple bites. Yeah. And then dinner. Yeah, dinner's kind of like just as good as lunch, but even better because there's a little bit more options.
Yeah, there's usually like 3 or 4 starters. 3 mains and like 3 desserts.
Yeah,
usually, 2
something
or 3
like
desserts.
that. Yeah, and then they've got like a fairly extensive wine list and beer selection. So like you compare like your wines and stuff with it. Oh, side note on that. Yesterday when we were having lunch, it was very quiet. It was just us. So like I think it was like because it's very quiet here right now. So there's a bit of downtime and a lot of staff. They actually had like, I don't know what his title was, but he was an expert on wine. And he was giving like a class to all of the wait staff.
About wine.
Like what to pair it with, what the differences between all the wines were. Because there are some trainee staff here right now too. But I think it was like all the wait staff were there.
It was all the wait staff. They each got like a really thick packet. It was probably like 8 to 10 pages of information. This guy was really going through how like wine is made, like the different kinds of grapes, all the things like what makes South African wine different from other
Yeah.
wines, and like
Even history of like which wines are popular, and this one's seeing a resurgence. Like he was like, this wine is seeing a resurgence in popularity. And like,
and I will say, I think if I could come up with like one thing about this place that needs improvement, the wait staff has definitely, I think, been the weak point, but it is clear they are in training and investing in their continuing education.
Yeah, they're definitely, and it seems like they're definitely, they want them all to be the best they can be. They're training them very well. They're like giving them all they need to succeed.
Yeah.
And saying like saying it's the one downside, it's not really a downside. They've been great.
They've been great.
Like, but they're not necessarily the most. They're not like a Michelin star restaurant that they know all the wines you should pair with this or everything. They're very polite. They're very quick. Courteous. They do their job very well. But yeah, you can see that a lot of them are being trained to be the best they can be.
Yeah. But just, it was so cool to see that, like, them providing this education for their staff.
Yeah.
And like kind of taking advantage of this quieter time of like, oh, we can use this time to really up their skill set, I think was really impressive.
Yeah. But yeah, I think just going back to the food stuff, the dinner food has been amazing. We've not had a bad meal.
No.
And it's been exceptional. The restaurant's been perfect. And I think this kind of flows into what we're just talking about, the training and making everyone like that. I think we just want to talk about the overall experience of the resort itself.
Yeah.
The overall, so things like, the staff. I think the staff in particular is probably the biggest part of this. The general experience here, right?
Yeah.
Like I can't give a fault to anything.
No.
Like in particular, I think from the moment you arrive, like not even just arrive at the hotel, arrive
at the airport.
At the airport, there's someone to pick you up. They've taken everything, like they'll take your bags, they put them in the thing. Yeah. They give you snacks on the way and like waters and drinks on the way back, right?
They take care of your permit for you.
They take care of the permit. They even spot some animals on the way here. We saw a lion like 5 minutes into our journey back. Then you arrive. They welcome you with like, there's staff are dancing and like singing, like
clapping.
Singing like African, South African songs and stuff like that. And then they give you a welcome drink, and someone from the staff will like introduce you and welcome you, and like you just have to sign like your check-in paperwork. Then they give you an option to be like, hey, do you want to sit and enjoy your drink or like have something to eat or whatever, or do you want to go straight to your room? And we were like, we'll go straight to the room. Like
our bags were already here.
Yeah, we jumped on the Bush Uber, which if you haven't seen it, we've talked about it a few times. It's their little golf carts. They call it the Bush Uber,
which is hilarious.
And then they take you here, but then the staff member will give you a tour of your room, show you all the ins and outs of how everything works, and then you can kind of do as you please until you think. But also, on that note, we got here at about midday. Our room was ready. Our bags were here. Like check-in wasn't officially to 2, but I think because like they know there's not many flights coming in and out, so it's like they're like, let's make sure the room's ready. Like we got to the Maldives, like last year when we went to the Maldives, we arrived really early in the morning, like 6 o'clock or something.
Still had to wait.
We had to wait like half a day. We were tired. We had to kind of be out in the public spaces for so long. Yeah. I think a little thing like that the room is ready when you get
makes
here
such a huge difference.
Is massive. Like I love that.
And especially like to compare the two, we were also at the Maldives in the off season. We were also there when the resort was not full. Yeah. There was no reason to make us wait that long.
There wasn't.
So the fact that here we were able to get right into our room is just like another.
Oh, it just shows that they like little details are done right. Yeah. And then it was the first day. We weren't even sure if we would get a drive, but they're like, no, would you like to participate in like the afternoon game drive at 3? And we were like, yes. So like that is done. That was perfect. We could go get lunch straight away before that as well. So all that little stuff is like done so well, right? Like the first day experience is perfect.
Yeah, the front desk staff are incredible and so welcoming.
Oh my God. It seems like generally like you'll have, I think someone does sort of like a morning, like day sort of shift, and someone sort of takes over in the afternoon. So you'll generally kind of have a front desk person in the mornings and at lunchtime, and then someone else will be there then. And they're like the most friendly and helpful people ever.
Yeah, they're lovely.
Every morning because it's so quiet, there's only a limited amount of guests here. They all like
you feel like you know everybody.
You feel like you know them all, and they welcome you every morning, and but they're very professional, but they're extremely friendly.
Yeah.
Right?
And like, while we're on the subject of staff, can we talk about the management for a second?
God. Yeah.
We've met 3 managers of various capacities.
Yeah.
Van, Joey, and Anita. All 3 of them absolutely lovely people.
And they like love this place, and you can tell they're all extremely passionate, right?
They're so it is clearly a labor of love for them, and they are so determined to make this place successful because it is in its first year of operation, maybe just over its first year of operation. They were recruited from like
other Marriotts.
Clearly, like, they recruited the best of the best.
Yeah, like Joey said she was from she'd been in like Dubai.
No, it was Anita.
Was that Anita?
Yeah.
I thought it was Joey. Oh, anyway, yeah. One of them was from Dubai for like 15 years or something. Right?
Yeah. And they just all have come around and spoken to us and gotten to know us. And like we mentioned earlier, Van, I think he's the general manager, but he's definitely got like guest experience optimization as like kind of, I think his like kind
task or something.
Not even his task, but I think that's like the thing that
what
like
he's passionate about. And
so to see him not just around the resort talking to guests, seeing how everything's going, but also to see him at the park, like, how can we make this better?
Yeah.
He told us like he's been having meetings with Kruger Park officials. Like, how can we make this better for everyone? I think is just incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
and they just, even like, there's just a lot of excitement. Like, you'll be sitting at lunch, and like one of the managers will come up and be like, "How was your drive this morning?
Yeah.
What did you see?" Like, and you tell them, and they're like, "Oh, that's great. Like, that's really rare," or
that's
like,
so special.
"You had a great experience being able to see that." And like, even things like the hippos out the back, the staff will sort of be like, "Oh, like, how beautiful is that?"
Yeah. Like, we've even seen staff, like, in quiet moments, like, the staff will be even watching the hippos. Like, it's so clearly special for them as well. And I don't think I've ever stayed at a place where it just like you can really feel like, especially for a place that's not like maybe a small privately owned like a family owned establishment, like for something that is like Marriott and corporate, like
all the way up to management, everyone is
passionate
and really wants the place to succeed. I think,
and really wants their guests to have the most incredible experience. And
it's the most, as you said, it's like it's sometimes even rare to see like the managers of a hotel, right?
Yeah,
and like
we've chatted with Van. I think
they always like either stick their head out of the office and be like, "Oh, good morning," like, how was your drive or whatever, or they'll come up at dinner or lunch or something and just have a little chat with you and ask you about your experience. And like, we were telling one of the managers like how great our experience has been here, and they were like over the moon. Yeah. About the experience, that we were having a great time. And and I think, and then in terms of sort of the other staff, like I said, the room staff has been great, like taking care of everything, cleaning everything really well, and being very like hidden and in the background, but doing a great job.
Yeah, they're definitely like room service ninjas.
The head chef always like sticks his head out of the kitchen and like talks to you. Yeah. Like he's always here and super friendly, and like just everyone here is just always just so helpful. Yeah.
You feel like loved and cared for.
Yeah, even like the driver, like Ernest, every morning he's our like shuttle driver that takes us to the park to get into our thing. Like, he's very helpful, and
he passes out bug spray every morning.
Gives us bug spray, and he's sorry about the mosquitoes in the van or whatever.
Like, we're in Africa, there's going to be mosquitoes in the van. Like, that's not
and I think just overall, like, we're pretty low maintenance kind of guests, and I know in particular we keep bringing up the Maldives, but I think it's like a good comparison. Most comparable,
I think.
That like there we felt like, because they have like butlers and like all this kind of stuff, it feels a little over the top and like performative, the service. Yeah. Where it's like, always like message me to get every little thing done for you. And like, it's a bit more like low key. Yeah. But
it's much more our speed.
Everyone's here to help. Like, if you need the help, they'll be here. Yeah. If you don't need the help, and you want to be low maintenance and kind of left alone, they'll leave you alone.
Yeah, I think
right?
we've definitely been places where, because we are so low maintenance,
It kind of annoys them or freaks them out.
they get a little annoyed at us.
Like, we never used our butler in Maldives except for like asking them to drive us to the like main
to
area.
the restaurant and back. Yeah. But here it's just like, I think whatever kind of level of service you desire is what you're going to get. And we're just like pretty low maintenance and easy. And I think a lot of times when you are low maintenance, you can kind of get overlooked.
Yeah. Right. I felt very appreciated for being low maintenance here, which is very like
rare.
Not common for like our travel experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, sometimes if you don't in a lot of hotels, if you don't make a fuss and be kind of a jerk, you're not going to be top priority.
Right. And here it's that customer experience I love of like, you're an easy customer, like you're a good customer.
Rewarding your good customers as well as the ones that are louder, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think that's I think the main categories, right? So let's just sort of overall, like, honestly, I have zero negatives. Like,
nothing.
This has been this is probably one of my top like travel experiences ever.
Yeah.
And I think that is because of this place facilitated that.
Yeah, it feels
right?
I think coming to do a safari in Africa, like that's a special thing in South Africa. Like that's a special thing probably no matter where you go, no matter where you stay. But the level of care and dedication at Leopard Sands really just took this experience to another level that I don't think we could have anticipated. And I think we feel so fortunate to have like found this hidden gem that I'm really excited to see how this place does going forward.
Agreed. Like the fact that this place isn't like booked out
is a crime.
Is such a shame. Like it's great for us because it's like there's no crowd, there's no one here. But I think even if it was booked out, there's 18 rooms. Like you're not gonna have a crowded experience ever. So I really hope this place does so well in the coming years because it's new. They obviously they're still doing things to help grow the place. As we said, they're doing trainings and they're optimizing things. But even though they're doing those things, as a guest, it's still perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's they're clearly still working on perfecting things and we've already had this incredible experience. I can't imagine what it's going to be like in 2 years.
Yeah, I think it's worth every penny to stay here. Like it's not cheap, but I think what you get included with your stay is also amazing. Like the fact that it's, all inclusive, right? All that stuff. So stuff in your room, there's no extra expenses. You get the 2 drives every day, 7 to 8 hours of dedicated
drive time.
You know, your park, the permits and the, you don't have to gas up the car like you would if you were driving
you
yourself.
Get a guide with 30 years of tracking experience.
That's worth so much. And and then I think the fact that Marriott owns it is great as well because we're big fans of Marriott and we have a Marriott Bonvoy credit card. We got this place. We stayed, this entire stay was free with points. We stayed here. We saved about $5,000 or something with this trip by using Marriott points. And I think that's a really big thing, a big perk.
Yeah.
A lot of the big name hotels have these rewards programs. So if you stay with them, you get, little perks and points and stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can stay in one of these super luxury lodges for free or heavily subsidized is really cool.
Yeah.
Because we probably wouldn't have come here if we had to spend that much or at least this point in our travel time, right?
We've talked about doing a safari pretty much as long as we've known each other and talked about travel. And I think it was always it was going to be another 5 to 10 years before we did it.
Yeah.
And being able to do it through Marriott with so much included, it just made it so easy. It took something that felt really, as people that are pretty well traveled, something that to us felt really intimidating and made it easy and accessible. Yeah. Oh, I forgot one thing I want to mention.
Okay.
Sorry. So something that was a bit of a question mark when we were getting ready to come here and when we were planning it is it's called Leopard Sands Kruger Park. And I just wanted to take a minute and talk about a little bit of the geography. So it is not in the park.
Yeah.
It is about 12 to 15 minutes outside the park.
Yeah.
Which is why we have to get a shuttle bus in the morning. So I just kind of wanted to mention you are not in Kruger Park. You were a hair outside of it.
It seems like a lot of the hotels in the area are the same situation. They're just outside the gates.
They're just outside.
I think there are some that are in.
There are lodges and experiences inside the park.
Yeah.
This is not one of them. It is outside the park. I just kind of wanted to note that just as a point of clarification because it was not clear to me where it was in relation to Kruger when we were getting ready to come here.
Yeah.
The other thing we mentioned it in another, sorry, I'm thinking of all the things that I didn't think of before. Another thing in the realm of guest experience, taking this so seriously is we mentioned it in another video, but it is a very secure property.
Yeah.
There is a electronic locked gate.
Yep.
Every car that goes in and out of this place is scanned in and out by the security guard, and they count how many people are in the car, and like they clearly take
the guest
safety very, very seriously. I know that's a concern of people coming to South Africa.
Right.
It's very, very safe.
And the same as like even from the airport, you don't have to arrange they have like shuttles that bring you back and forth to the airport too.
Yeah.
And then on the other side is animals. There is a big old electric fence right there.
Yeah. So
which surrounds
whatever your safety
property.
Concern is, you don't need to have it.
Extremely safe.
Because the whole thing has felt very, very safe. Even when you have a lion 4 feet from your truck, you still feel
And I think on that note too, like we talked about the restaurants, but I think like some of the concerns people like you go to the doctors and they tell you to like be extremely careful about what you eat and drink and stuff.
Yeah.
They provide a bottled water, and there were 2 giant bottles every day, so like you don't have to drink the tap water, and all of the food is so high quality.
Yeah, I've had zero concerns about like
we haven't been sick.
Issues.
We haven't been like everything's been great.
Yeah.
Like there's been no issues with kind of any sort of stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think we have really proven the point that every possible little detail that could be paid attention to, they have it sorted out and optimized as much as possible.
It's perfect. It's amazing.
Perfect. 10 out of 10.
Come stay at Leopard Sands. It's so good.
Yeah, I think this is probably our favorite place we've ever stayed. Probably one of our favorite trips we've ever done.
Yeah.
So huge.
And I think this was a good amount of time too. We stayed for 5 nights, and I think it was a great amount of time.
Yeah. So Van, Anita, and Joey, if you're watching this video, like huge shout out to what you've accomplished here because it's really truly.
There's probably
special.
other managers too we haven't met.
Yeah, whoever we haven't met that we haven't named, you're doing great.
Yeah, you're all doing a good job. Keep it up. And I'm sure we'll probably be back here in the future because it's such a cool place.
Yes, absolutely. All right, is that wrapping this up? I think we've rambled on long enough.
Yeah, we've rambled a lot. So thanks so much for watching.
If you made it through all of this.
If you've made it through the whole video, we appreciate it. Thanks for watching. If you want to see all the other videos from this amazing place, just check out the other videos in the playlist. And if you want to follow along on our future adventures, make sure you hit that little subscribe button below.
Yep. Thanks.
Thanks for watching.